Warning, this podcast includes heavy language. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Wheelhouse and welcome to a very special edition of It's Just a Podcast where we are going to be talking about bullying. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to a very special edition, podcast of It's Just a Podcast with me, Wheelhouse. Now, I'm a little bit, I'm not myself with this one because I'm talking about something that's very personal to me and I've always wanted to sit down and talk about it, recording, raw, and just talk about it off the cuff. I mean, I've got a couple of notes here just to keep me going, but this is basically going to be as raw than it can actually ever get. So I am going to be cutting bits as I don't want to bore the arses out of you all. But I'm going to try and make this as real as possible. So today I'm going to be talking about bullying. Now, bullying is a very, very close topic to me, as I got bullied a lot in school. I don't talk about it that often. I try not to, because it's a negative part of my life in which it hurts, really. And it wasn't a very pleasant experience to go through. So yeah, I'm going to start off with where it all started back in 2008, I think it was. I was at the age of 11, put it like that. Back in 2008, I was approached by the NHS to take these things called growth hormone injections because through school I was bullied a lot because of my size. To get it into the system, you've got to use needles. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole history of it, but I absolutely hated needles at that time. So that was a bit of a distressing time for me, if I'm truly honest with you. But yeah, I took growth hormone injections from being 11 up until the age of 17, so late 2014. So it's been a long time out to put up with being on injections, and that all started because I was being called little in school and I wanted to fit in with everyone else. So yeah, that's how I went about that. And I mean, I still stayed small for quite a long time, but my height went up and up and up, and I was going to like regular appointments where they'd show me this chart, and I could see that it were going a bit up and down, but I was getting taller. But by the time I got to high school, that's when it really got to me, as I started getting name called midget, stuff like that, and that really started to hurt because I went into school with that sort of class clown approach that is me. My actual personality is just being comedic, the class clown, liking the centre of attention. So that's how I went into high school, and yeah, I think I shouldn't have done that, if I'm honest with you, because I got myself known a lot more. And yeah, that's essentially how bullying started for me. Now, the high school that I went to is Wycliffe Mount. I'm not going to be name checking any bullies because I don't think that's right, as people do change. So I could actually sit here and make a fucking list of it, but I'm not going to do that because that wouldn't be right. Now, my confidence, it was all over the place in high school, really. It was up and down, depending on the situation. I'm still a bit like that today, but because I allowed people around me to influence it, it just got hard and difficult. I mean, when I was surrounded by people who made me feel comfortable, I was definitely at the top of my game. I felt 100% confident, but when I was being bullied, I shrank to a shadow of being the class clown version of me. I couldn't be myself, and that is disappointing, and it just got harder and harder because I was a very confident person and my confidence drew down and down and down, and honestly, nobody could see that on the outside, but on the inside I was coming home from school after being bullied and just going home crying. So yeah, I got bullied in very different ways. I mean, I was more commonly known for getting bullied because of my size, because I was very small. High school, it was really hard, as I was just called midget all the time, and that was difficult. But there's a lot of well, I won't call them memories, a lot of things that I do remember now that I will never ever forget that happened. Like in music, I had a musical instrument that's called a metal clave. It's actually more of a wooden instrument, but I think some of them you can get that's metal. Ask your music teachers if you don't know. But it's basically this metal clave, and I had it chucked towards my arm, and as a result of that, my arm came out in bruises, and that were bloody awful. And then I also, at one point, I was about to step onto a bus and somebody ran up to me. It must have been some sort of dare. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Somebody pushed me and my bag thrown across to the other side of the road and I was kicked. That was bloody awful. But my problem was, on the outside, I never shown that I was hurt. I would have just got up, in which I did. I got up, went on the bus and just kept it all in, being brave. And then when I got home, it upset me, it really did. But my problem was I didn't tell people and I didn't show it. So yeah, a part of me blames me for that. I mean, I did talk about it to people in my family because I think if you're getting bullied, it's a very important thing to do, is that talk to whoever you can. If you can, it's got to be a family. It's better if it's a family member, but if it can't be a family member, speak to a teacher, speak to a staff member, just speak to anyone you can about it. But at the time, I struggled to speak to my dad specifically because my dad was taking the approach of, right, tell me the name and I'll meet him after school and I'll beat him up. And personally, I am absolutely against violence, so that put me off speaking to my dad. So I'm not name-checking my dad as this awful person, as he's the best and the nicest person you will ever meet in real life. But that was his approach with bullying. And yeah, I didn't feel comfortable going up to him telling him that I'd been bullied. So I just sucked it all in and kept quiet about the whole thing, in which wasn't good. And I think one point I remember going into school and crying about it, in front of a group of people. It did get that bad. Yeah. I mean, I was never a shy kid because, unlike middle school, me showing my talents, not talents, me showcasing my enthusiasm to making films on YouTube, put it like that. I'm not trying to make myself seem as this la-di-da person. Me showcasing what I enjoy doing, entertaining people. People enjoyed that in middle school, and I was encouraged to do that. Unlike when I went into high school, I was just known for all the wrong reasons, and as a result, I was always provoked. And for some reason, I don't know why this was, I always had photos taken of me. This happened like every single day, as if I were this famous person and people asking for autographs. I don't know why this was, and whether we're doing it for a laugh or whether they actually like my stuff, I'll never know. But for me, it felt a bit too much in high school because on the inside, I was a very shy kid. So for all that to be happening every single day, not knowing why, it was a bit weird and it was hard. And also 2 out of 3 of my options at school, because when you get to about year 10, you take your options. So I took drama, audio production and music. 2 out of 3 of those were very difficult for me, as it were full of people that just didn't want to learn, and it just made it so hard. And I had to put up with people bullying me in those classes as well. I'm not going to go into details. No, I'm not going to mention any names. But yeah, I couldn't even enjoy those classes. The classes that I actually picked, those were hard. The only one that wasn't, and I enjoyed every minute of, was performing arts. I absolutely love performing arts, but I should have enjoyed drama, but I didn't, just because everybody were there just because they didn't want to learn. It was an easy subject to get into, and they thought it was a very easy thing to do. So everybody just, as soon as the teacher went out of the room, they did fuck all and mess around, and it was just soul destroying for me, because every single Saturday I was going to drama class, and then like every single week on a Thursday, I think it was, and then in the summer, like every single, like 2 or 3 times in a week. I was doing rehearsals to do the Alhambra shows in October. So I had this really, really big passion to do acting. So when it came to doing drama and everybody fucked about, that was hard. And yeah, I didn't get the best of grade throughout drama. So if my drama teacher ever does hear this, I am so sorry, because I actually really, really wanted to take a passion for that subject. There's so much potential that I could have got in that class that I couldn't get because of the people in there. So yeah, that's that really. Now, it's been 6 years since I've been to school. I finished school in 2013 after my GCSEs. And yeah, things went all right. I went to college and yeah, things... Obviously, you've got your own problems in life, but the old bullying went to one side. But what made me want to talk about this specific subject today was because for some reason, last night, I still can't get to the bottom of this, but last night I had a bit of a dream in which involved the people who bullied me at school. It wasn't a specific scenario that actually happened at school, but it included the same people that I got bullied by. Not going to name check. But yeah, I think when you get bullied, I'm not going to say that I was bullied a hell of a lot, because I know there's a lot worse, as there's people that do commit suicide. Actually, I'll tell you a fact of that. In 2017, 6,213 suicides in the UK was reported in both the UK and the Republic of Ireland. But yeah, I'd like to say... Well, I wouldn't like to say... I wouldn't like to be sat here talking about it today, really. But it has affected me. And then occasionally, like last night, I had this dream. And I meant to have been filming today for the Magic Box, but I've had to cancel last minute just because it's got to me for some reason. And in real life, I've got problems at the moment with anxiety and depression. So when something like this does crop up, it really does hit hard. But yeah, I'll move on from it, but it is a difficult thing to come through. And that's why I'm sat here talking about bullying today, because the actions of bullying, there is a big consequence to it. And for some people, it scars them for life. And I think that's what's happened here. And I don't think it's going to get to me forever, because I do not want it to get to me forever. But every now and again, things will happen. And I don't know why, because if something like that does crop up in a nightmare or a dream or whatever, it tends to be because of something that's happened in your day-to-day real life that can relate to it. But I can't think of anything. Honestly, I haven't been bullied at all, or I haven't mentioned it, or I haven't seen the faces of them. So yeah, it's a bit strange, but yeah, I do think that bullying is something that can scar you. So whatever you do, try not to fucking bully, because it really does upset and hurt people. And yeah, that's basically the point of it. Don't bully. Right, okay, so I've got a couple of facts here that I've been writing down a couple of notes. Over 3.2 million students are victim of bullying each year, and I think that's just ridiculous. It's one of those things that still happens today, and teachers don't see it. It's a bit of an invisible thing, and sometimes you can get bullied within 10-20 seconds. As soon as the teacher's there, gone. They won't even see it happen. So it's just one of those things that teachers, they are more aware of now, but it needs to be more aware in schools that bullying is wrong, and bullying does have consequences, and bullying is something that I am totally against. Approximately 160,000 teenagers skip school every day because of bullying. To start with, you shouldn't skip school because it's a very important thing. I mean, it's a bit weird me saying this, and my family will probably be laughing at me because my GCSEs, what the hell? But my GCSE results wasn't very good, so I can appreciate that. But I do understand that school is a very important thing, and it's not essential, and it's not the end of the world if you can't get your GCSE results, but it is very handy to have it to get a job in the future. And it is harder if you don't have those GCSEs, but there's always an alternative around that. So if there's anybody that's listening to this that's just hasn't taken the GCSEs yet, is younger than 18, don't worry about it, because if you don't get it, there's always another way around. Don't worry, you have not hit the end. But yeah, what I was saying basically was the fact that school is important, and that 160,000 teenagers have skipped school is ridiculous. It's absolutely mental that all those teenagers have skipped school every single day because of bullying, because of this one thing that can be resolved. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be until bullying is a thing of the past, a really bad thing, but yeah. One thing that I do encourage people to do if they are going through bullying is not to suffer in silence. I suffered in silence and I do regret it. So I'm going to give you a list of people who you can contact, because you are not alone. If you can't speak to anyone in your family, a teacher or a parent, if that is the case, there are people out there, and these are a few of them. So the first one is Anxiety UK, and these guys support people with anxiety conditions. You can call them on 08444 775 774, and the website is www.anxietyuk.org.uk. Okay, so the second one is ChildLine. Now, ChildLine goes up to the age of 19, and you can talk to them about any issue. It can be emotionally, it can just be any sort of support, and it's private and confidential. So you can call them on 0800 1111, and they're open 24 hours a day. They also have a website at www.childline.org.uk. So yeah, ChildLine is a really good one actually, and when I was being bullied at school actually, I had a ChildLine account, and I did speak to a counsellor on there because they do speak to you, so that was somewhat good. So if you are being bullied through school and you are under the age of 19, ChildLine is a really good one. If you need support for mental health, there's an organisation called Mind. You can call them on 0300 123 3393, and the website is www.mind.org.uk, and I really encourage you to go on these websites for more information, as I'm only giving you the basic information of where you got to start to contact them. Now the last one is quite well known, and it's called the Samaritans. They offer emotional support on absolutely any issue whatsoever, and also they are open 24 hours a day, and you can call them on 116 123. And I think they help anyone at absolutely any age. So yeah, if you want any emotional support on absolutely any issue whatsoever, they're the people to get in touch with. And the website is www.samaritans.org. And lastly, I'd like to talk about a charity called Place to Be. Place to Be is the UK's leading children's mental health charity, providing in-school support and expert training to improve the emotional well-being of pupils, families, teachers and school staff. This support helps young people to cope with wide-ranging and often complex issues such as bullying, bereavement, domestic violence, family breakdown, neglect and trauma. Place to Be's school-based teams build strong links with students, staff and parents to develop a mentally healthy ethos within a school environment. The charity also trains school leaders, teachers and mental health professionals to build their understanding of children's mental health and well-being. To find out more, visit www.placetobe.org.uk. Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for this episode of It's Just a Podcast. Now, if you are being bullied, I hope you take on all the advice that I've said in this podcast. Make sure not to suffer in silence and speak to anyone you can. And if you are a bully, just don't do it. Because as you've heard from this podcast, you've heard how much it affects people. And yeah, it's just not a good thing to do. So don't be the bully. Help to stand up against bullies and not be the bully. And if you still continue to be a bully, fuck off. I can't say that, can I? Actually, I can. If you are a bully and you want to continue to be a bully, fuck off. So my name is Lewis Wheelhouse and you've been listening to It's Just a Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Bye! This podcast has been produced by LW Audio, an independent audio team developed by LW Pictures.